Live from WTVO 17 and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
A busy Stateline highway is the scene of a death investigation. State police work to find out what happened after discovering human remains.
Rockford's west side's become a hub for redevelopment. City leaders hope a little TLC and elbow grease will make the area a great place to live.
If you think about how large this telescope is going to be, it'll be as tall as the space shuttle.
A Rockford-based machine tool company is seeing stars. You can help determine if its product is the coolest thing made in Illinois. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. Human remains are discovered near a busy Winnebago County highway.
Multiple police agencies were called to the U.S. bypass eastbound exit off Route 251. That's near 11th Street. The call came in around 11:45 this morning. Illinois State Police are handling the case. They tell us the investigation is in its infancy and not much else. No word yet on how long the body had been there or how the person may have died. We'll bring you updates as they become available. Investigators released the name of the Rock County teen killed in a crash last week. Police say a 17-year-old Beloit boy was driving. 16-year-old Paige Wilson of Orfordville was in the passenger seat. The driver failed to round a curve on County Trunk K, hit a ditch, flipping the car several times. Wilson was reportedly thrown from the vehicle and died at the scene. The boy is doing okay. Neither of the teens were wearing a seatbelt. Shots ring out in Beloit, prompting multiple neighbors to call police. This happened last night just before 7 on Wisconsin Avenue. Several callers told police they heard gunshots in the area. Police say 3 homes were struck by bullets. Multiple spent shell casings were found nearby on Dewey and Summit Avenues. Anyone with information regarding this shooting is urged to contact Beloit Police or Crime Stoppers.
A garage fire in Belvedere turns into an all-hands-on-deck mission to keep the flames from spreading. It happened after 6 this morning on East Wood Lane. All 4 Boone County Fire Protection agencies were called to the scene. A neighbor called 911 after seeing flames engulf the garage. One person was inside the home at the time but got out safely. The fire did not spread to the house, but the house did have some heat damage, and we're told the garage is a total loss. Investigators say that fire was an accident. Stateline Fire Department works to better prepare the community for emergencies. Freeport Fire Department's rolling out Community Connect. That's a voluntary app that allows residents to report and stay in contact during an emergency. Users can also use the portal to call for help from first responders. Businesses are also encouraged to use the app so the fire department knows those businesses' evacuation procedures and hazardous materials lists. We have a link to that app on our website. Just head to mystateline.com.
Many parts of the Forest City have been reconstructed over the last few years to attract more residents and business owners. That includes Rockford's west side.
The area has received a major facelift over the last decade. Ari Bruckman joins us with more on how developers are revitalizing Rockford. Ari?
Eric, from bars and restaurants to startup companies, business moving to downtown Rockford's west side means more people are choosing to live there as well.
In the last 15 years, downtown Rockford has been transformed. From boarded up doors and windows, the west side is now more than just a quick stopover.
We started down here 13, 14 years ago. There were many blocks that were vacant, many buildings that were vacant, and now today we have finished blocks. That's really what we're trying to accomplish here, fully develop or redevelop downtown Rockford into this 24/7 downtown urban setting.
The west side actually now has more than 400 apartment units, many developed by Urban Equity. Rockford River District Board member Gary Anderson points to a problem that had limited development in this area.
I think for Rockford in particular, it's always been an issue of having low property values that has not driven any kind of development. What we've been able to do is to utilize the historic tax credits to make some of these buildings, at least viable.
Now, many are looking forward to what's next. Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara believes having a strong downtown makes for a stronger city.
You need connectivity. You're seeing that with some of the infrastructure put in place. You have a brand new Morgan Street Bridge, much more investment in beautification with the murals. You need people to live down here. Unique locally owned shops, areas for commerce, and you're seeing that. All of this is done with great purpose.
McNamara also says the city wants to invest more in Davis Park. A task force is looking at different options, including adding an amphitheater or even a beach. Eric?
Thanks, Ari. The Illinois ACLU warns voters about a new push to weaken the state's privacy laws. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the state capitol. Last month, a federal judge ruled Facebook's facial recognition software violated an Illinois privacy law. That law protects your biometric information. Now, more than 1.5 million Illinois Facebook users are in line for a $345 check from Facebook after the class action settlement. But the ACLU warns a new push from House Republicans could weaken those privacy protections.
It would relax regulations for all big tech companies, just giving them even more latitude to use our biometric information as currency and be able to monetize it. If we give this information up to companies, we're giving up something incredibly valuable to us without sometimes even realizing how valuable it is and letting them monetize it, share it with other companies.
Illinois House Republican leader Jim Durkin says the state's privacy law doesn't benefit taxpayers. Instead, he says it benefits a, quote, cottage industry of lawyers who make money suing employers.
In Washington, House Democrats are poised to pass a pair of gun control bills. They aim to strengthen background checks for firearm sales. Democrats' first target is the so-called gun show loophole. That would make it illegal for unlicensed people to transfer firearms to someone else without a background check. The second would extend the background check period from 3 to 10 days. Supporters say that allows more time to flag individuals who put the public at risk. Republicans say the bills would do little to stop mass shootings. Congresswoman Sherry Bustos says this would make the country safer.
If you are a felon, if you are a criminal, if you are deranged, well, by God, you shouldn't have access to a weapon. That's what this bill does. It has the support of about 90% of Americans.
If it passes in the House, the bills would need to gain support from every Democrat and 10 Republicans to pass in the Senate.
There are many important items built across Illinois, but the very coolest could be made right here in the state line. Rockford-based Ingersoll Machine Tools is pitching in to create the biggest telescope ever. They're helping create the Giant Magellan Telescope, or GMT. The effort's not gone unnoticed. The project even earned the company a spot in the Maker's Madness Elite 8 competition. Ingersoll's CEO is confident in the company's chances of winning, all thanks to his employees.
We do so many cool things constantly, but the fact that that this telescope is being built here, and that the GMTO organization had the trust in us to put this together. It's just a testament from our employees.
You can vote for Ingersoll or your favorite company's product through March 14th. For more information, just find this story over at mystateline.com.
A Rockford senior is in the running for one of the most prestigious academic awards in the country. Auburn High School's Emma Otis is a finalist for the National Merit Scholarship. She's one of 15,000 students to earn a place as a finalist. There are 7,600 awards up for grabs, valued at over $30 million. Winners will be announced this spring and are selected based on their abilities, skills, and accomplishments. Notable National Merit Scholars include Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates.
For the first time in months, the Stateline Theater will dim the lights and draw the curtain, at least soon. Starlight Theater's preparing for the 2021 season. Shows just announced today include Gentleman's Guide, Your Good Man Charlie Brown, Once Upon a Mattress, and Little Shop of Horrors. Ticket and audition information will be announced soon. Tune in tonight at 6 to hear from some of those involved with Starlight and hear how the shows will look a little different this year.
A nearly $2 trillion COVID relief bill is nearing the finish line in our nation's capital.
Coming up, the changes members of the House still need to approve.
Plus, a Stateline woman works to make sure every child is celebrated on their special day. Coming up at 6, we'll introduce you to our first remarkable woman finalist.
Temperatures here in Rockford soared into the upper 60s. In fact, we tied our record high. We actually made it to 68 degrees today. Find out if we can hang on to that warmth tomorrow and when we could see the rain move in. Coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Eric Wilson, Mimi Murphy, Sports Director Scott Leber, and Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
The U.S. House of Representatives is expected to take up the Senate's version of the $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package any day now.
It's the last stop before the bill heads to the president's desk. Anna Warnicki is in Washington with more on when we can expect the bill to pass and when Americans may receive their stimulus checks. She's keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
The big question right now is when can people expect to see the $1,400 in their bank accounts? The White House says they're ready to send out the checks, but before that can happen, the bill first needs to clear the House. President Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief bill is heading to the House floor.
Tomorrow, passing the American Rescue Plan.
Democrats say the nearly $2 trillion package will help stop the pandemic and jumpstart the economy.
Vaccinations are up, infections are down, $1,400 survival checks are on the way.
There are a few differences in the Senate's version and the bill the House originally passed. The Senate's bill still includes $1,400 stimulus checks, but fewer people will be eligible. It also lowers weekly additional unemployment benefits from $400 to $300 and removes a provision to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
It's a real tragedy.
But many Republicans in the House say even with the Senate's changes, they plan to vote against it.
It includes provisions that are not targeted, they're not temporary, they're not related to COVID.
It goes to unrelated policies, whether it's arts and humanities or funding for the Kennedy Center, or just policies that are terrible for our recovery, like paying people more to be on unemployment than to go back to work.
The House is scheduled to convene at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says that's when we can expect lawmakers to vote on the bill's final passage. In Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki. Back to you.
Now, your first warn weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
Well, it has just been an absolutely gorgeous Tuesday afternoon. A live look with our Mercy Sky Track camera now out at the Poplar Grove Airport. Plenty of sunshine after our day today started off with a bit of cloud cover and even some haze and fog, and that strong southerly wind allowed that temperature for most of us to climb into the 60s. In fact, we made it up to 68 degrees here in Rockford. We tied our record high of 68, which was set previously back in 1977. Those numbers still in the 60s for quite a few of us, from 64 degrees in Rockford, Janesville, down to 59 in DeKalb and Rochelle, 58 in Freeport, and 55 our current temperature in Dixon. We are going to hang on to that breezy southerly wind. Unlike last night when the wind did turn light, that southerly wind will stay gusting at about 25 miles per hour, which will help keep our temperatures in the low 50s tonight, so it is going to be a very mild night. Our weather watchers from across the area, Ken in Belvedere checking in with 60 degrees, Bob in South Beloit 65, 63 for Bob, I should say, in Rockford. Ben in South Beloit had 65, and Mike underneath a clear sky just north of Forreston checking in at 61. Strong southerly winds warming those temperatures well into the 70s to our west and to the southwest, which means we've got another day of 60-degree warmth tomorrow, but unfortunately that comes with more cloud cover and the chance for rain and even a few isolated thunderstorms. So from the 50s and the 60s we're at right now, only down to about 51 degrees tonight. Winds will stay rather gusty from the south, 25 to 30 miles per hour. But that chance for rain going to increase likely after midnight, more towards tomorrow morning, as a rather strong and energetic jet stream continues to work out of the southwest. We've got the clear sky now, but look for that cloud cover to increase later tonight. And in fact, that'll start to pick up a little more between about 3 and 4 o'clock. Getting in just a little before sunrise tomorrow, we could start to see some of those first round of showers begin to move in from the west and southwest. Not for everyone, and it's not going to be a constant rain, but there are going to be some moderate downpours that'll be coming down through sunrise tomorrow, and not even going to rule out the possibility of a clap of thunder or two. We'll hang on to that chance scattered, though, through about noon tomorrow, and it's very well possible that we could clear out from some of that cloud cloud cover during the afternoon. So with that strong southerly wind, temperatures will be able to make it back into the 60s. But there is a cold front that comes in late tomorrow evening. We'll have showers and a few isolated thunderstorms lining up along that front after about 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow evening. Those will continue through about 2 o'clock early Thursday. Then another round of some rain coming in as that cold front actually begins to sink a little bit further down to the south for Thursday afternoon, clearing out then once we head into Thursday night. As far as rainfall totals are concerned, about a ½ an inch for a few of us, adding up between tomorrow morning and then coming to an end once we head into Thursday. As far as our temperatures tomorrow, we are back up to 65 degrees. It is going to be windy though. Winds during the afternoon could gust as high as about 40 miles per hour. So a rather windy Wednesday. Any threat for severe weather staying to our southwest, but with that cold front, could have a couple gustier thunderstorms, maybe with a few stronger wind gusts. 56 on Thursday, 51 on Friday. We dry out, but guys, those temperatures, we're not in the 60s by the weekend. We're back down into the 40s, more typical of where we should be. Have to watch early next week. Might get a little rain-snow mix.
But that is a quick change, too. Candice, thanks.
Scott's in next with sports.
The Chicago Bears won't be losing their best offensive player. Scott has the upside and the downside to the decision the team made today.
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Leber.
If you're a Bears fan, you can breathe a little easier now. Allen Robinson will remain in a Bears uniform for at least one more season. The Bears put franchise tag on him this afternoon. So Robinson will play the upcoming season for $18 million. It hurts the Bears because they already have salary cap issues, and now they'll be squeezed by the cap even more. But the Bears didn't have a choice. Robinson is the only reliable playmaker on the offense. Subtract him from the equation, and it's frightening to think how bad the offense might be. The franchise tag also gives the Bears a few more months to try to work out a long-term agreement with Robinson. The downside of this news is, does Robinson still want to be a Bear? He was already upset at not being offered a contract last season. Will this move create even more hard feelings? And because of this move, the Bears will probably have to let another valued player go to clear more cap room, possibly somebody like Akeem Hicks. And they still might have to free up more money to sign a quarterback if they go after a veteran. So the Bears have cleared one hurdle, but there are more very big hurdles looming ahead of them. The Packers are taking the opposite approach with Aaron Jones. They've decided not to put franchise tag on him. The Packers could still try to re-sign Jones, but he's probably gone. The Packers are $11 million over the salary cap. Some team will make Jones a strong offer, even in an era when the running back position isn't considered a priority. He is only 26 years old, and he can do it all. Losing Jones means the Packers will be looking for A.J. Dillon to play a more prominent role next season. That's why they drafted Dillon in the second round. They knew they probably wouldn't be able to re-sign Jones. The Packers will also have to look for a discount backup running back or two in free agency or through the draft. That's my take. We'll be right back.
First Warn Interactive Radar, brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More, will become a little more active over the next 12 hours or so, as we've got the chance for rain increasing by tomorrow morning. But for the rest of this evening, just warm and windy. Winds will stay up tonight, which will hold our temperatures in the upper 40s and low 50s. 65 for tomorrow. Strong wind gusts for the afternoon. Look for rain early morning, and then a couple rumbles of thunder Wednesday night.
Thanks, Candice.
And thank you for spending time with us. Stay safe.